no longer see any feasibility in this kind of violence. Gandhi's nonviolence and King's nonviolence cannot be seen in the same light, because Gandhi had a violent alternative he was willing to use. King did not have a violent alternative at all. It was ideal, and would have been ideal for an ideal world had it been appealing to liberal Christian people who actually wanted to practice the Judeo-Christian ethic. It would have had a point, but he wasn't even appealing to people who believed in it, let alone practiced it, and had no intention to do so. Now, the bumming of the young people, the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, and when King said that if blood must flow, let it be our blood and not the blood of our white brothers. Now you can see the disfavor in the question that is being brought up. Now, near the end, the last 2 years of King's life, you need to look at. You need to look at these last 2 years, because Martin Luther King in those last 2 years was becoming a revolutionary minister and a revolutionary force. And our oppressor does not intend for any revolutionary force to emerge among us, least of all in the personality of a minister. Because a minister can say things over and above that of others and get away with it. All right. His association not only with the garbage strike in Memphis, but his speech on Vietnam and his calling attention to the waste of funds, his calling attention to the moral deterioration of this nation. Martin Luther King was gradually being transferred from one status into another kind of status. He was still a Christian. Make no mistakes about it. Martin Luther King was a Christian, and a good Christian. But I'm saying that he was a poor realist, but a good Christian. But he was asking for a humane approach to the war in Vietnam, and he could see the utter stupidity of the war itself. When he began to advocate a poor people's march on Washington, including poor blacks and poor whites and poor everything, he was then on a collision course with power. He had challenged the establishment. And if he continued on that course, he would have been a political power in this country. And no one intends for political power to emerge with understanding among African people. I said before, we are a nation within a nation, searching for a nationality. And if we function as a nation, we could deny the Senate seat or the congressional seat to any Southerner in the South and many of them in the North. We can just tell them, you're not going to Congress next time. We have decided that you won't go. And we can make it stay. Now, before they let us exercise that kind of power, they will take the vote away from us. And they will rationalize it in the eyes of the world. All right, now, Martin Luther King is in Birmingham. He's in a black hotel. The black hotel is painted white. A white man in a white car kills a black man in a black neighborhood and gets away. What does this tell you about Martin Luther King's security? And what does this tell you about the possibility your mind? Why did this man get away clean? When do we protect people who go out of their way to protect us? King was moving away from this concept of solid nonviolence and asking for revolutionary change that challenged the establishment. And every time a black person in this country shows his people the true face of power and what to do about it, he's either assassinated, driven into exile, or driven to suicide. And had we learned this, we'd have had a guard around him 24 hours a day. In the first place, no white person would have gotten close enough to him to shoot him. And if a white person registered in a hotel in a black neighborhood, we'd have been suspicious of him, let him register, but have some brothers who know how to handle guns. And so when before he could raise it up, he would be dead. Now you can see the dismantling of our revolutionary leaders and potentials of revolutionary leaders. In the dismantling of the movement. We spent so much time celebrating the movement, we did not spend enough time protecting the movement, and our scholars did not put enough time in building a political floor for the movement. So when it changed, those young people would know the political meaning of that movement. And they didn't. All right, now, there's beginning to be rumbling in the movement. Call for some form of black consciousness that ultimately would lead to a call for black power. No one should call for black power unless someone had made up their mind as to what you're going to do with it when you get it. Beyond the slogan, what is going to be. We became a sloganizing people that substituted slogans for action. We shouted, black and beautiful, black and beautiful. That don't frighten the white people. They know you're beautiful. They'll make some cosmetics to make you more so and put the money in their profit in their pocket. The world is not ruled by beauty or blackness. The world is ruled by power. So they control education and they control the mind. This is why the fight over textbooks is so fierce. You can't get a decent textbook in New York City. You can't get a decent textbook in New York State. Then why did Kenneth Clarke sit quietly by and let them rule the Africans and the Asians out of the history of the world and a new global history of the world? And you got a black man sitting on the regents who didn't lift his voice. So what is the use of having black people in strategic power and strategic positions who don't handle that position correctly where we are concerned? There's no point of having them there. All right, now, with King gone, Kennedy gone, not that he was doing that much for us, Malcolm X, the greatest significance can be attached to the assassination of Malcolm X